digital studio, this is Halftime Hangout with Jeremy Poplin.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Halftime Hangout. You heard big voice guy there say it. My name is Jeremy Poplin. That is Drake Johnson, producer extraordinaire on the digital side, hanging out with us. A Thunder Hangout edition here because, well, it's our last game of the year through Griffin Media, airing live in Oklahoma City on News 9 and airing in Tulsa on News on 6. So we thought, you know what, let's kind of kick it old school here a little bit with our last Thunder game. We had a live stream at 6 p.m., walking you straight up to the pregame on the linear television side, an exclusive digital stream as well with Steve McGehee and Chris Williams courtside. We are not obviously courtside because, you know, they're better than us. So we get to just hang out here. Drake's still at the office. I'm here with my makeshift studio at home, and the Thunder are leading at halftime 50-33. It's incredible, Drake, as we're kind of, it seemed like everyone was trying to get back into the flow right after the All-Star break, even the officials, who I thought were just flat out terrible in the first half. Multiple mistakes that they had made, and they finally had to go to Secaucus to get a flagrant foul issued there as they were grabbing Jay Will around the neck. I believe that was Mann that was doing that. So it's been a rough start so far, but it's hard to imagine that this was actually a 2-point lead for the Nets at one point in this game. My goodness, are they terrible.
Yeah, I in my head before this started, I was really thinking, I knew the Nets played last night. Obviously, we're coming off a 1-week break from the All-Star. I was like, if I was a betting man, I feel like Nets first quarter, you know, that might have been a play. That might have been a good move there. And so I was keeping an eye on it. And they did. I was like 23-21. That's a slow, ugly start. Basically what you would expect for the Thunder coming off, you know, a break without their, you know, 3 best offensive players maybe. And you're like, oh no, here we go again. Kind of looked like they were settling for threes, just jacking them up here and there. Also, Lou Dort loves scoring first. I don't know how often I see that. The Lou Dort 3-point shot is one of, I think he scores like first basket a lot. It's just something that happens. I don't know. They always just dish it to him, and he always hits it. And if he hits that first one, that's where you know there's a lot more going to be coming. How many did he have? How many has he put up already? Let's see.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pull up the box score here for a
2
second.
of 3. So, I mean, I think
Okay.
he probably shot both those 3 pretty early. You know, he likes to get them going, like, once he gets them going. He passed up one that I saw pretty early. He was wide open on a pump fake, and then he drove in and tried to shoot a mid-range and was just way short. I feel like he's always so out of rhythm when he tries those. But yeah.
I wonder if that's like an ongoing gag with them, that they're trying, you know, actively to get him the first bucket, you know, because it's like even with press conferences there for a while, if you've been covering it for a while, they kind of give you carte blanche to ask the first question, like for a press conference. You just never know what's going on behind the scenes. We have to have Steve ask one of them if there's some sort of effort that goes behind that. So kind of your thoughts on just the ragged nature. I think we expected this, right? This is still a team that is not going to necessarily panic, nor should they. You know, the Nuggets, I think, are taking the exact same approach. They're not really necessarily worried about what the regular season record's going to be. I think the main focus is trying to get everyone healthy, and then also trying to figure out how they're going to make all these pieces work, because Mark Dagnall talked about this earlier today, and it was, we're still kind of in the process of figuring out what the next step is for this group in this year. They just haven't played with each other long enough over any significant stretch of time, especially the starters. It's kind of silly what this ragged, injured group has gone through so far as they're in their first ever title defense.
Feels like a long time ago they were 24-1. A long time ago. I was out eating dinner, and that night that they played, I think it was the Suns in the quarterfinal cup game, and they were up like 50 points, something crazy like that. And if you got on Twitter or any site, everyone was talking, oh, the Thunder, they're going for 75 wins. They're not going to lose. The NBA season's over, basically. And it was like right after that.
Yeah.
I think I've seen it, what are we, like 18-13 since then? Like, it's been 2 different seasons for sure, and our really started, you know, that day before those back-to-back games against the Spurs. That was one of them supposed to be on our channel too, got booted off, but that 12-23 game against the Spurs, they kind of put the beat down on us, and you're like, okay, all right, here we go. And then the injuries start piling on, and now we're hearing it. Now it looks like it'll be a fight for the 1 seed down the end. That's what our
Yeah.
friends were talking about on the pregame show a bunch. It's just the fight for the 1 seed.
Well, if you go to Tankathon, I think that's where most of the people were getting. They've got a nice little breakdown of what the schedule looks like, and Denver by far had the most difficult schedule. I say by far, but I think they have something ridiculous. Like in their first 14 games back from the All-Star break, Drake, like Denver, I think has 4 back-to-backs included in that, which is just absurd. San Antonio has the 10th toughest schedule, and Oklahoma City has the 2nd toughest remaining. The one I would keep an eye on are the Rockets. Rockets have the 25th ranked schedule. They're obviously lagging a few games behind. I don't think that they're going to make a play. I'm not a firm believer in them to make any type of significant run. So it will more than likely be like a Thunder San Antonio stretch here in this second half of game. Spurs got the win last night over the Suns, a team that they have struggled with. But focusing on this game, 23-21 after one, Brooklyn the lead, and then just your typical 29-10 second quarter for the Thunder to ultimately take this lead 50-33. One thing that stood out to me, 22-8 for bench points tonight. Oklahoma City, one of the best scoring benches in the entire league, and the turnovers that the Nets have. If in all of this conversation, Drake, about tanking, you're getting a good look at what like a real version of tanking looks like with the Brooklyn Nets and some of these teams, because my goodness, what they hit 2 threes in the first half. I know at one point in time they were like 1 for 16, I think is what they started from 3.
Gosh, yeah, and Michael Porter Jr. being on this team is just the weirdest thing ever. I don't know why he went there. You look at the names, you don't know anybody. I know Man, maybe Claxton, he didn't even play, but then you're like, wait, that's Michael Porter Jr. Like, why is he even on Brooklyn? Why did he take that? People, I feel like in the offseason, we're kind of talking about him being able to like lead the charge and be a 1.
Yeah.
And kind of be a leader for what their $5 million first-round picks they had last year. That's just so random. He's only got 8 points. I mean, he's a good player, but him being on this team, it's just got to be brutal for him.
Yeah, I looked at this game more than anything tonight, and especially when the announcement came out yesterday, like, all right, we're going to reevaluate Shea in a week from now. We'll reevaluate J-Dub 2 weeks from now, and then we'll go from there. This was just kind of a let's ease into it, but let's take care of business, because that's kind of the place that you're in now with me.
Yes.
If you're the Thunder, is like all of these games, even like this, like you can't really stub your toe too many times down the stretch because of how hot that San Antonio's been and because of the injury situation. But this was like, let's get right in one game before we play the red hot Cavs coming in on Sunday.
Yeah, it was almost, dare say, a must win with how it's going. Like, you want that 1 seed, you want, like they were saying it at our pregame show, if you don't have that, even the number 1 overall seed in the finals or just the 1 seed in the West, those game 7s could easily be flipped the other way. So it may not seem like much now, but going on the road in a game 7, or just the whole way the series home away works in the playoffs, it's a huge deal. So they can, no more slip ups, no more of those. I guess we're just hoping. You got to beat the Raptors too. I guess that one's coming up. I think it's Cavs, then Raptors, then Pistons, I think is what it was. Either way.
Yeah, we just know that the Pistons are in there, and statistically they had the better record there for the number 1 overall seed that's there. I don't know. I did not look at what Detroit's second half of the schedule looks like in terms of ranking on that, but that's a team that is not only much improved, they do play a fun style and brand of basketball too. And the other thing with them is that they're physical. Right, they have a little bit of a throwback to them that you feel like, all right, yeah, we know that not necessarily have to get up and down type game, but in a game with them, it's your physical limits are going to be tested.
They're showing it right here on the pregame. I was about to say they looked good against the Knicks last night, and Cade had 42, or the halftime show, 42 points, 13 assists, 8 rebounds for Cade Cunningham. He's a beast. He's really, really good.
There's no doubt.
Even his MVP odds are kind of climbing up there. I think he's getting there. I don't know if he'll really pass it. I think they had that straw poll come out today, and SGA still led the pack pretty easily, but Cade's making a name for himself this year.
So here's a question I have for you, and I think we're all in the same boat. right? We have the utmost confidence in them once they get healthy and they figure a few things out. But they're still a pretty average shooting team from deep. I know there were moments in the playoffs last year where that felt like that caught up to them and can catch up to them again. To me, it's always about what they can do defensively if they can all stay healthy. But at some point in time, and I know they've tried, and McCain's part of that with bringing him in from Philadelphia. But how much pause does that give you for the future with this team?
I'm remembering the stats last year, not like specifically, but in the playoffs they were like, didn't like what was the stat? Like we were winning games with like no threes shot. Like you remember what I'm
Yeah,
talking about? Like we were
I
like
do.
breaking records of just like winning games without shooting three pointers, which in this era is crazy. Um, and I mean, one that really pops in my head is that game five against the Nuggets. Like you live and die by the three, they say that, but I mean, Dort hit three straight threes, and then J Dub hits that one in the corner, and it's like if that doesn't go, we probably don't even make it out of the second round. So, as you don't want to say lucky, but it is definitely a big thing. It is something that we'll need them to be confident, and they're not like being able to repeat that like we did last year. You're really risking it. You're really playing risky. So the shooting can definitely be an issue, and with I don't know how much they'll even play in the playoffs, but McCain and even Topic, like he's a newer guy. Like I don't know what they're gonna do. I love seeing them get out there though.
I was going to bring up Topic. Just the story in itself is great, but to see him back on the floor and to see glimpses of kind of what the vision was for him, and you see it at times, and I
Mm-hmm.
think you saw it definitely during that one blue game that he played in as well. I think Rylan Stiles, who was our guest on the pregame stream earlier, tweeted this, and I agree with him. You know, the ability to get in the lane and drive like the north south and just with a full head of steam, and then the amazing ability and vision on the kick. Besides finishing in the paint and at the rim, I can't wait to see kind of what that next version of him is as he continues to evolve. And that's probably me getting way ahead of myself, considering a guy just had a battle cancer to come back and play this season.
Yeah, he what was it back to back kind of driving layups that he had here in the second quarter, and then he pulled up on that three in the next possession. The place would have exploded if he hit that. It was I was wanting that to go in so bad.
But you do see those glimpses though, and you're like, all
Yes.
right, okay, this was the overall big vision for him, and if he can just find a way, who knows what that means? And I thought Mark's been pretty upfront and honest with what the plan is for him, and very limited. Not going to try to push it. Make sure that obviously his health and his comfort is of the utmost importance. But it's still fun though to kind of see like, all right, now I see the level of genius behind this front office and what they were thinking about with his draft pick, and a guy that's basically lost 2 years off of his career because of having to deal with injury or having to deal with a cancer diagnosis.
Adding him and McCain to this team, it's just fun. It's just fun having them post All Star break. Like it just adds a little fun to it. I don't know what else to say. They're just
Well, but it's
spark plug
seamless
players.
though, and that's the thing that's always great about it is it's been pretty seamless. Like the addition of both. Now it comes at a time of great need, so
Mm-hmm.
maybe that makes it a little bit easier as well. And who knows when you get the full starting rotation that's back in there and how they mix. But in terms of personality, Topic has kind of been around at least the organization. But McCain coming in, everything that they've said about him and the type of young man that he is, I mean, so far that has proven to be true in the limited amount of experience and time that we've seen with him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they also got Buddy Boeheim too. The only guy who didn't score for the Thunder was Caruso, and he's kind of a wild card too. Last year throughout the playoffs, or I guess before the playoffs, I was always like he didn't do much in the regular season, and he's not a guy that we need necessarily in the regular season. We saw what he did in the playoffs last year. That's what you want from Caruso. That's what like whether it's the defense, it's the turnovers, it's the scrappiness, it's the threes. Like he's what is it? He's like the oldest guy on the team too. So he is
Yes.
a
Yeah.
playoff guy. Like I'm not worried about anything with him until we get to April, May, and June. Like those are when the Caruso minutes really come out. He was what? I mean, he was. I can't remember. I don't think he started. Dagnall messed around with the lineup a little bit in the playoffs last year,
Mm-hmm.
but he was a I mean, a top 3 or 4, like, he was just so crucial in what we needed last year. That's kind of the same thing this year, I think, too. And I guess just depending what Mitchell does, like, you assume he's going to be back and be healthy. But, I mean, Topic could easily kind of like fill in a little bit there. That's what you see from it if, Mitchell is out for even longer or, like, you know?
Do you have any concerns over the Mitchell situation with the amount of games that he's missed?
I mean, more so than anyone else. I mean, I guess JW are pretty concerned there. I mean,
Yeah.
and you're in it right.
No, that's
right
fair.
on. But he looked really good in his last game, so I guess that's why you're not as worried. You're like, if he comes back, it looked like he at least had his rhythm back. He just got dinged up because it's the same injury for both of them, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So and those are both scary injuries. So
Well, but when you're that deep and you've got still the best record in the league, outside of the percentage point from Detroit, it's you have that depth for a reason. You can lean into it. You don't necessarily feel like that you've got to be rushed back at all. All right, looks like we're back to action. Thunder leading 53-35. Thank you, Drake. Appreciate you. Thank everyone for checking us out here during the Halftime Hangout. Our very last game here with Griffin Media on the regular season side as the Thunder and Nets are back at it. That's Drake Johnson. I'm Jeremy Poplin. I want to say thank you to everyone for jumping on with us. We've got lots of content for you coming up on news9.com, newson6.com as well after this one is concluded. And then, of course, don't forget that big matchup coming up on Sunday as well against the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll see you next time here from Halftime Hangout.
All right.
Thank you for watching this Oklahoma Zone digital studio stream. Stay with News 9, online and on television anytime for the latest news, weather, and sports.